conquer this one aspect of CrossFit, and it's almost inevitable that eventually the coaching level in CrossFit is going to get closer and closer and closer to the coaching level for, pure Olympic lifters.
Yeah.
Because there's that competitive nature, and competition drives improvement. And now you got a lot of money involved. You can't tell me that these, when there's money involved and there's an aspect that obviously needs to be brought up in order to win, people are going to figure it out.
Yeah, I think that we've seen this in our gym. We'll have I'll write the Saturday workout. I'll put it on the site, post it, something like that. Or if I'm there coaching, and if 1 rep max snatch or 1 rep max clean and jerk is not written on the board, my people will literally ask me if they can stay after and max out, because the all that stuff you're talking about, you see it at the games, and everybody knows they need to develop this to be successful at the sport, etc. Those things are great from a sort of an outside perspective, I guess. What we've seen is people love the numbers. They love chasing that PR. They love, you put 5 pounds on somebody's, or you put 15 pounds on somebody's clean and jerk, and we're talking about normal people. I've musicians at my gym.
Well, we're not talking about normal people.
Well, right. but the
say
people,
normal people and then musicians comes out of your mouth. I don't know about that.
I have government workers. How's that?
I'm not sure I agree with that one either. I don't know. Anyway,
what we see is that even the most absolute normal client that you have at your gym, when they start to develop a little bit of technique and they start to feel pretty good about the lifts, there's nothing that gets them more excited than when they hit a PR.
Well, I very much agree with you there. I don't think there are many things that are as intrinsically exciting or just genetically exciting as lifting more weight over your head. I mean, I would agree. I can't imagine. I mean, I know like Fran is a big deal in CrossFit, and it's a heck of a workout, and it's a benchmark, and it'd be hard for me to imagine, even if I was a, competitive CrossFitter, being as excited about my Fran time coming down 10 seconds as I would about putting 10 more pounds over my head on a bar.
Trust me, it's not as exciting.
Well, yeah, I mean, to me, it's just, there's something just intrinsically exciting about lifting more weight over your head. That it doesn't have to be part of CrossFit. It doesn't have to be Olympic weightlifting. It could be a bigger rock, but just the fact that you lifted a weight over your head and kind of conquered that weight has just something it's just exciting.
People,
I'm not saying Fran's not exciting or whatever other workout in CrossFit's not exciting, but it's just like, it's exciting within the context of CrossFit and within the context of improving yourself, doing better as a CrossFitter, beating your buddy. But take all those things away and lifting take any 10-year-old boy, look at something, and that's one of the things they want to do is lift it over their head.
Right.
I mean, it's just seems to be there just almost naturally within us as like athletes, human beings, whatever.
The cool thing to me is that, in my opinion, and obviously I'm a huge barbell guy, but in my opinion, the best events at any major CrossFit competition over the years have been the ladders. And to me, that's CrossFit's sort of greatest invention, right? Because weightlifting is it's golf, right? It's even worse, right? You have judges, you have guys walk out, there's a timer, it's very clinical almost. You know what I mean? There's not much, there's no cheering, nobody's banging on the platform cheering for the guy to get the PR or anything like that. At a CrossFit event, you've now had a clean ladder at the games, you've had a snatch ladder at regionals last year, you've had the deadlift ladder in 2009. I can't remember what we did in 2000. Oh, they had like a 1 rep max jerk in 2010. What people cheered the loudest for was the clean ladder at the games this year. What people cheered the loudest for at regionals was the snatch ladder. And that to me is almost best invention as far as weightlifting goes, because if you could make a weightlifting meet more exciting somehow, then, and I know you'll probably hate this, but if you could, I mean, what would be more fun for a guy like Travis to walk out with a 5 kilo PR on the bar for the clean and jerk, and people are screaming their guts out for him, and the adrenaline that would happen there, as opposed to he walks out and everything's quiet and the people are sitting in their chairs and stuff like that. That's kind of the coolest sort of crossover, I guess, invention that we've had is those ladder type things, and people literally can I say the S word?
Yes. People
lose their shit when Elizabeth cleaned that 240 bar or whatever it was at the end of the clean ladder last year at the games. I've never seen the place go. I've never heard that sort of loudness at a sporting event other than like a Redskin game. Go Redskins, RG3. And that there's almost no other way you can get that sort of excitement. You know what I mean? Like a 5-minute workout where people are just kind of walking around, or a 10-minute workout where people are resting and walking around. It's not that same immediate cheer.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah,
it makes total sense.
So from a sporting standpoint, the combination of the sort of CrossFit invention of the ladder with Olympic weightlifting has been, in my opinion, the most massive sort of sales pitch for weightlifting. Who wouldn't want a stadium of 10,000 people on their feet cheering for them when they hit a PR? I mean,
I agree. Very few weightlifters get to have that.
Yeah, you guys need crowds, better crowds. You need to get rid of the seats. You need to get rid of the judges. If I don't know, Marcin Dolega snatches 204, right, at an international meet, and he presses it out, well, good on him. Who can press out 204, right?
Right.
Just good job, Marcin. You get the lift. High five.
Yeah.
No, you don't agree with that one?
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people within weightlifting to argue that the press out rule is stupid because it's hard to judge and because it doesn't make the lift easier. It
makes the lift harder.
It makes the lift harder. And there's a lot of people in weightlifting that would share the feeling that we should eliminate the press out. I don't really know where I am on that. I mean, I'd have to think about it. I mean, honestly, getting into things like what rule should we change, this, that, and the other. I mean, I've had my times in life where I've been like really, gung-ho about this or about that. And like, after a while, I'm just like, the rules are the rules. If somebody made it so that you could press out, they changed the rules, I would coach and whatever in a way that was, recognize that this is now legal.
You know this. Somebody somewhere in some country would figure out, somebody would do something on accident, and they would figure out a way that would make more weight go up. You know what I mean?
It's possible. That's
They would short arm the lift somehow and hold it right here, with the elbow bent, and then press it out or something like that, and they'd end up.
There's lifters that probably would save a lift or make a lift that they wouldn't make with the press out rule. I think there's something to be said for the lifts just being beautiful. For the lifts being smooth, easy, beautiful, and kind of an, oh my God, that was so awesome aspect. And pressing things out kind of takes away from that. But certainly would make it easier to judge. It certainly would make it more crowd friendly in most instances. And there's arguments on both sides. And as far as for me, I don't get too hyped up about things like that. I just figure whatever the rules are at the present time, that's the way I'm going to teach the lifts and try to coach them and whatnot. And if the rules get changed at some point, which is not impossible, I guess, then we'll do it that way.
So basically that was a long-winded answer by you to say that my argument was stupid.
No. I think your argument is that we should do things to get the crowd more involved and make it more exciting.
Yes.
And I think that would be great. I think in general that would be great. Whether eliminating the press out would actually do that within a weightlifting competition, I'm not sure. I think you got a reasonable valid argument.
That would not, I don't believe. But I have an idea. To remind me when we're done, I have an idea that would make everything more exciting.
Okay.
Travis is psyched right now. I think he maybe just got chills.
Yeah, Travis Cooper's sitting here watching us record this and operating the computer. So
he actually fell asleep at one.
He fell asleep while I was talking, and when you came up with that idea, he woke right up.
He woke up and he said, he didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything, but he did wake up. Well, I think the discussion of the technique in the snatch, and is there a different technique for high rep versus for heavy singles? We kind of covered that, and I think the conclusion was, yeah, there is maybe a different optimal technique, yet for many reasons, because the snatch gets very hard and very heavy, at least subjectively, at the end of a snatch ladder or at the end of what's a CrossFit workout that you do 30 snatches?
Isabel.
At the end of it,
you don't know that one.
I probably knew it. I just couldn't recall it off the top of my head.
Come on, coach.
I know Grace is with the clean and jerk.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wasn't familiar with the snatch.
The famous video with Donnie and his jeans.
Yeah.
You were there
Donnie
for
in his
that,
jeans
right?
and combat boots, yeah. But I think, the argument that you had that practicing doing it right is what you're going to fall back on and where you can produce the most force is what you're going to fall back on either when the weight gets heavy or you get really tired or a combination of both. And so that's probably the way that you should practice it. I think that's real valid, even in the face of there being maybe different optimal styles for metabolic efficiency or lifting, the biggest weight. I think, your argument is valid, and I think that pretty much sums it up.
I think we should arm wrestle to see who wins that one. Oh, it wasn't a debate, was it?
It wasn't really a debate.
I think we agreed, maybe.
Then we don't have to arm wrestle?
You'll definitely win.
Well, let's just not. Let's just not. All right. I hope somebody liked that out there.